folks, how you doing? It's Nick Granville coming to you from Wellington, New Zealand. I'm back home. I'm just going to look this up. Let's find where that is so I can see any comments and stuff. Been away for 2 weeks in the US, which has been fun. Hopefully you can see and hear everything okay. I'm assuming you can. Let's click on that and see. Yeah, kind of looks okay. Playing through my Victoria at the moment. I've plugged in the Flint pedal. Flint's pretty cool kind of reverb and tremolo thing. And then, because I hate playing without reverb. This guitar sounds super sweet. I'm really happy with it. Full. I've just done a mod on this. I took out one of the springs, so it's only got 3 springs in the back now. Makes the tremolo a little smoother. The other thing I noticed too is when I took the extra spring out, so it's got 3 springs instead of 4, I had to screw the bass plate in the bit that's here up a little bit to kind of get it to sit back about right, which it is sitting right now. The tremolo is pretty much straight. I have it floating. So you can go in both directions. It actually holds tuning really, really well. Don't know why. Just does. I'm going to turn that on silent because that's going to bug the heck out of me. Got my iPad there. Do not disturb. Let's do that. Yeah, so it actually makes the whole guitar feel lighter. Interestingly enough, because now, like, you know, when you do a bend like that, typically, if it's, you know, there's more tension on the bridge, there's more tension against your bend. But now that I've gone to 3 springs, the other pedal, I was messing around with a couple of pedals into this amp today too. But I got the dude plugged in at the moment. It's not on. Hey Jeff, how you doing? Yeah, NAMM was lots of fun. It was really great. So the best part about NAMM always is going and catching up with people. You know what I mean? Like I saw a bunch of friends, and I met some new people, which was really lovely. And some people I kind of known about for a long time, but we hadn't connected yet. So like Jens Larsen, for example. Jens and I, really great guitar player. I'm sure you all know his YouTube channel and stuff. We ended up hanging out quite a bit, you know, grabbed coffee like a bunch of times, and he's such a cool dude. And we've been following each other online for years now. And, you know, he's just a cool guy, great guy. He's exactly like what you picture in those YouTube videos, you know what I mean? And so it was nice to get to hang with him. Very interesting hanging with him, actually, that I kind of saw that kind of the power of YouTube, right? Because there's a guy who's, you know, he's done some gigs and stuff, but really he's known in YouTube circles, right? And Jens and I would be walking around somewhere, and like every 5 meters someone would stop and say, hey Jens, you know, and kind of chat with him the whole time. And they'd be like, and one guy even said, hey, I feel like I know you because I've watched you so long on YouTube, to Jens. So, you know, he's got a big following. Jeff asks, is there any gear you're jonesing for? Always. That's what these things are always kind of about, right? I'm going to turn these headphones up a little more. I want a little more juice. There we go. Yeah, the Collings stuff was really nice. Hope you can hear everything okay. Let me know. The Collings stuff is really stunning, actually. There was a couple of acoustic guitars that I played. I literally tried every acoustic guitar they had on the wall, which was about 9 or 10 of them. And they ranged from about 17,000 down to about 6,000, I think, and they were really, really great. All sounded beautiful, really stunning. But the one thing I probably most want out of the lot that I've tried out of everything was I tried a 2-rock, the custom reverb signature. And that thing was just great. So my friend Adam Miller, great Australian guitar player, Adam was playing, he's got a signature guitar with Nick Huber, and Adam was playing that, and I got to play through, at one point he said, oh, come play my guitar. So I played his actual guitar, because they had it on the display, but they weren't letting people play his personal guitar, but of course he let me play it. So I played that, and I played it, he had that little 2-rock combo. Sounded so good. So I went by the 2-rock booth and went and played the custom reverb signature head. And now I want one of those. I describe it kind of as sounding a lot like my Bassman, which is what I'm playing through right now. But way more tone shaping options, you know what I mean? You can really dial in any kind of sound you want. And I went in, while I was at NAMM, I went and saw Oz Noy and Andrew Senewick play at the Baked Potato. I took a lesson with Oz some years ago, so it was nice to go and reconnect with him. And I've known Andrew for a little while. So, yeah, it was choice. I mean, they sounded really great. Oz was playing through his 2-rock, and he had a Strat, as you would expect with him, and like every pedal known to mankind, which was awesome. And then Andrew was playing through a Bagcat and his Les Paul and a Heritage like 330 type guitar. It sounded great. It was a really good gig. And with lots of guitar players at that gig too. I caught up with Mark Lettieri there. You guys might know him from that band Snarky Puppy, but he also has his own bands and different things. So he was at that gig just hanging out. And I caught up with Alan Hines, who was also there just hanging out. Alan was playing the following night, but unfortunately I couldn't make it. I'd already committed to going to see Mark play with the Fearless Flyers. So, and that was choice. The Fearless Flyers are awesome. Man, what a good band. And actually, hey Jeffrey Boyle, how are you? Sound is perfect. Great, I'm glad to hear it. My favorite sound in this guitar is probably those two. One thing I'm finding too with this guitar, the volume control, I put a, what do you call it? Treble bleed on the tone control, on the treble volume control. What I find with it is if I run it up full, it's going to clip. See why I use the fractal? That's not distortion, that's the microphone clipping. But it gets really fat. And as you turn it down, it drops in volume, sure, but it also brightens up. It's kind of one of those things, because if you think about a treble bleed, it's letting the treble through, right? But you're essentially turning down the other frequencies, like the bass frequencies. So if you've got a guitar that kind of is a bit boomy, like this, P90s can be, yeah, turn it down, so you hear it there. But yeah, I went and saw Fearless Flyers. It was choice, and they had a really great opening act. And the opening act was a band called the Psychedelics. I think they said they were from Texas, and totally out of the Prince kind of rule book, right? They had all the Prince isms in there. Music was fantastic. Just really enjoyed it. So yeah, and then of course Mark was playing his ass off. I don't know Pliny. No, he's an Aussie, but I'm a Kiwi. I'm from New Zealand. New Zealand, Australia, two different countries, believe it or not. A lot of people do think that we're kind of the same. New Zealand is like mini Australia, right? Tom Bukovac did a video the other day where he said, something like, oh, he was talking about a video, reference a video of mine, which I was very honoured to talk about. But he said this Australian guy, and I was like, I'm not Australian. About this thing, you know. I need to practice that. It's tricky. I still can't do it very smoothly. The cycle of fifths thing he was doing, but I still don't understand how he got to it. If you're in the key of A, why would you start on F? It's cool. It's awesome. Maybe I don't need to understand it. It's all good, Jeff. Yeah, it's been 2 weeks already. So we had a week in Alaska, and Alaska was freaking awesome. What a beautiful place. Cold, pretty damn cold. And I went to Norman's Rare Guitars, as I do pretty much every time I go to the US. You got to, right? Norm's is a bit of a legendary place. Although, to be honest, it was a bit annoying. I got there and they kind of told everyone to shut up and be quiet while they were filming some YouTube video with some little kid or whatever. You know, it was one of those things where the novelty factor. I'm sure the kid was good, but nonetheless, it was like, come on, man, it's a retail shop, isn't it? It's not a YouTube studio. But anyway, also too, they didn't really have a lot of good stuff on the wall. There was like no old Strats or Tellys at all. It was like 170 Strat on the wall. That was about it. A few old Gibson archtops around, stuff like that. The stuff that doesn't sell, but all the good stuff was kind of. He keeps it all out the back now, and it's sort of like, oh, come on. I guess because he knows people are just coming in to try it and not really that keen to buy it, get scratched and whatever. But yeah, so while I was away, I was kind of thinking about what I'm going to do with this channel, because you know it's been a couple of weeks off, and I really needed a break. I was getting to the point where I was feeling pretty burnt out. You know, doing videos every day, as much as I enjoy doing it, it's pretty tough. Because you have those days. Oh, why is it coming out backwards? Shouldn't be coming out left-handed. Shit, how do I change that now? So you're seeing everything in reverse, right? Is it flipped? Damn it. Don't know. Anyway, I won't be too long on this anyway, so yeah. Don't know why it's done that. It looks right on my screen, but I guess, yeah, it is coming out. Maybe I'm just a lefty for today. But yeah, I was thinking about the daily videos. I don't know if I'm going to continue with the daily videos, to be 100% honest. I think for me, what I've found with it is it becomes like this ongoing thing where you have days where you're just exhausted or tired, especially if I'm, you know, been out gigs and stuff, and then it's like feeling this feeling of have to do a video to keep the routine up, and for what? And so I've been thinking, like, maybe I'll just find some kind of schedule that works for me, and that might be a better way to do it. I don't know right now. I haven't completely committed to whatever just yet. But I was thinking, you know, maybe I could put out 2 videos a week and then do a live stream a week, and that would still be enough. And that would actually, because one thing about doing this YouTube stuff that I enjoy is I enjoy the edit, right? I really enjoy editing. It's a chance to kind of put your story together, do you know what I mean? Out of what you've filmed. And also, I think for me, I'd rather do higher quality stuff than do quantity. As much as I enjoy, because one problem being in New Zealand is we have real it's hard to get access to gear. So for example, I love showing you guys gear, because then you can make your mind up about what you like and what you don't, and kind of what matters and all that kind of stuff. But it's really difficult to get stuff. I had Fender get in touch last year about demoing a couple of guitars, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'll show people, you know, it's going to be my words, and they were like totally cool with that. But has it happened yet? No, we're still waiting for the guitars to arrive here, you know, and meanwhile everyone else has probably already had them. So I think in terms of that, like in terms of doing daily stuff, I don't know that it necessarily works that well being this part of the world. But yeah, so I'm thinking maybe even I could, let me know what you think, but maybe do one weekend video and one weeknight video, and then a live stream on a Sunday or whatever. And then if I feel the urge to do more in between, if there's something cool that pops up or whatever, I probably will. That might be a good way to work it. I don't know. But I did notice when I got to because I do all the editing on my phone, which is what you're watching on at the moment. I have an interface that I plug into my phone, this microphone. Usually the Fractal plugs into my interface as well, and I can mix it. But I have to mix it on the fly because it's all happening when I'm recording. It's happening in real time. I don't edit. I don't mix afterwards. It's all stamped down to one file, and that's the thing, because it needs to be quick. Because if I'm doing it every day, I can't be, syncing files and transferring files and waiting for that. But I found that because I'm doing it on my phone, my hands are getting sore. Like, sometimes I'll be sitting there for an hour editing. At the end of the hour, I've just done this on my phone. I'm like, it's not necessarily a good thing. But I know if I was trying to do everyday videos on my computer, I just wouldn't be able to do them. Right? So that's sort of a catch-22. So I'm thinking maybe I haven't committed either way to what I'm going to do just yet. But I thought I'd jump on here and kind of let you all know that's kind of where I'm feeling at the moment, that maybe I should just commit to a schedule of, say, 2 videos a week. One could be a lesson, one could be gear, I don't know, something like that, or even 3 videos a week. I reckon I could do that too. Like kind of what I've been doing, right? Which is performances and lessons and gear, and if there's something that's kind of topical that's popped up, maybe Marshall getting bought out, I could make a video about my thoughts about that. See what I think. I did talk to a guitar company about when I was in LA. They mentioned that they were quite keen for me to be playing their instruments. So I don't know if I really want to endorse anything right now. So we'll see what terms is going to be, at least not exclusively. I also talked to a string company while I was there. I met the guys that own this company. They were really cool guys, actually. I really liked them a lot. So I'm going to give their strings a try, and we'll see if it works out. I don't know. I'm so used to Alexas because that's what I've kind of had for ages. I did see Isaiah Sharkey and Mark Whitfield play. I unfortunately couldn't get any footage of Isaiah because he had his back to me. Where I wasn't, it was heaps of people. But Mark Whitfield was facing me. But man, Isaiah Sharkey's a hell of a player. I don't know if you guys have checked him out. I kind of knew of him a little bit, but I'd never seen him play. And when they were playing, they played a couple of tunes, and there was some sound issues with the monitors and stuff. They were struggling a bit. It was at the D'Angelico booth. But Isaiah played this a couple of times, would just kind of pull things out that kind of just leave, my jaw just hit the floor. I'm just like, damn. And his sense of rhythm is badass. The way that guy plays rhythm is just like right in the pocket. And he's got chops to burn, and, he was pretty amazing. Mark Whitfield, of course, I knew of, is also an amazing player. Different kind of player, more jazz than what Isaiah is, although Isaiah played a lot of jazz stuff too. They were both choice. But yeah, so now it was cool to go and see them and see the Fearless Flyers, and caught up with a whole lot of friends. That's really what the NAMM show is all about for me, is just seeing people, meeting new people that are cool. Jeff says, I would like a channel that does sort of a guitar news of the week video. Maybe not able to keep up weekly, but that would be content I'd like to see. An aggregation of what's going on in the guitar world. Yeah, I kind of have thought about that. Actually, it's funny you say that. And I had this idea to set up a green screen and have a background that looks like the 1 o'clock news in New Zealand television, and call it the guitar news, and kind of bit of a piss take, which anyone who knows me knows I like to have a bit of a joke about things. I'm not a very serious person generally. Serious when it comes to music. It's got to be badass, but then, we have fun along the way. But I thought about doing that, actually. That could be fun. And actually wouldn't be that hard to do weekly. To do that daily would be, but weekly. Yeah, I reckon I could do something like that. Maybe I'll put some more thought into that. Anything you guys want to know while I'm here? This was the first guitar I played when I got home from LA. I had my Telecaster, and I took the neck off. I'm actually thinking about doing a video about that, because there was some things about that worked well, taking the neck off, and some things that didn't. Various things like trying to put the strings back through that I took the strings off and I kind of curled them up here and then taped them to the body. So when I get there, I can just kind of restring it with the same strings. And that's mostly just because I'm cheap and I don't want to put new strings on it. But what a pain in the ass it is to try and put a bent string back through the post and all of that. And then, of course, they all got tangled in each other, and I spent maybe 20 minutes just mucking around with it. I was like, why don't I just change the strings and not be cheap? So there was kind of that. There was also things about, the tube that I bought for it was a round tube. I found that didn't work particularly great because it can roll. So you put it up in the overhead bin, and those things have got a curve about them, where they go, and put them at the back of bags. But if someone lifts the bag out, it felt like it could roll out and hit the ground and potentially damage it. So I think like a rectangular shape would be better. Where the hell I'm going to find one, I don't know. I'm going to start looking. But definitely the concept worked really well actually. Put the neck on. I did take a multi-tool that's like a guitar multi-tool that has a bunch of Allen keys. I think Americans call them hex wrenches. The things for adjusting your truss rod. But none of them fit my telly. Crazy. It needs its own specific tool. The nut is like way down in here, so you need a really long tool that's the right size. So I have one here. But yes, I couldn't adjust the truss rod. And actually, New Zealand's a really humid place. Of course, LA is very dry, and then Alaska's kind of somewhere in the middle. So it definitely moved around a bit, and the action jumped up, and I kind of wanted to adjust the truss rod, but I couldn't. So it was like I had to put up with it playing pretty bad. So with things like that, that just learned a bit from doing it. But I've been thinking, man, I should play this guitar more. And one of the reasons I've been thinking I should play this guitar more is that I don't see other people playing this. Do you know what I mean? And I kind of like that idea of having something that's kind of uniquely me, right? If I think of all my favorite players, they typically play one guitar, right? Pat Metheny's known for like a Jazz Box 175, Sco for the Sco guitar, Scott Henderson for his Sir Strat type guitar, Andy Timmons for what he does, with that sort of Strat Ibanez thing. Who else can I think of? Wes Montgomery. There's lots of players that I like that play lots of stuff too. But generally players are known for something, a guitar. So I was thinking, what would it be like? And I think there's something about this. I reckon I could do most gigs on this. Or the DGT. I saw David Grissom around at NAMM. I was going to go and chat to him and just tell him how much I loved the DGT SE, but I didn't want to hassle him, and I was like, because he was busy when I saw him, it was at the Collings booth, and I thought, man, I'm just going to leave the guy be, you know what I mean? I saw a few people like that. Tim Pierce, I saw Tim around too, and I was like, man, I'm not going to hassle Tim, because he was in the middle of, I think it's kind of rude if someone's in the middle of a conversation to go and interject, because then you just look kind of like a fanboy. You know what I mean? And that's always a weird start to someone who may potentially be a friend later on in life. Someone like Tim, I could definitely see that I would hang with him at some stage because we have so many mutual friends, and I like his playing a lot, and I love what he does with YouTube. So yeah, I'm thinking about doing some changes with this channel, but I'm not totally sure exactly what. But yeah, I think the daily thing is probably something I'm going to struggle to keep doing. I felt really tired when I got over there, and I think it's just that daily thing. It's because it's not only just making the video; it's also like you've got to put time into thinking about what you're going to do. You know what I mean? And I'll be like trying to conceptualize what I'm going to talk about, how I'm going to talk about it. You know what I mean? All those sorts of things. So I was feeling pretty wiped out. So yeah. And also, as I mentioned, my hands were getting sore from all the editing on my phone, and I won't be able to do it on my computer if I'm doing daily ones, or at least without spending 2 hours a day, so which I don't have time for. So, but yeah, I'm thinking about that. I'm also thinking about setting up Patreon too. So I don't know if you all will be interested in Patreon, but I was talking to Jens about it, and it seems like a really good thing. And he was like, man, you got to get started on that now. He was actually really surprised that I didn't have Patreon. He's like, everyone's got Patreon. You got to do it. So I thought, yeah, I've got to start like kind of looking at these things, you know what I mean? Because to be honest with you, with all this YouTube stuff, I really don't know what I'm doing half the time. I'm an old school player. Like I come from the real world of playing, where you get out and gig lots, and you learn on sessions, and teaching people in person and stuff. So this online stuff, I'm really late to the party with all this, right? But better late than never, I figure. Anyway, if I can get to that, let's see if I'm going to tangle all this mess up. Let's see if I can hit that. So this is the dude pedal. That's a great sound. And if I want it fatter, I go on those two. You can hear the noise going away too. Yeah, I don't know why it's come out flipped backwards, so sorry, I hope this is not bugging you. Maybe for these you lefties will really like it. Hey, Zal. So I've got a couple of really good gigs coming up soon. I've got nothing this weekend because knowing we were away, I didn't book anything. But the following weekend, I've actually got a solo gig, and I haven't done a solo gig for quite some time. I'm actually opening for this band, a jazz singer. I don't know them, which is surprising because I know most musicians in this town. I probably know certain people in the band, I'm sure. But a friend of mine said, would you, he runs a music venue, and he was like, hey, do you want to come and do like a half-hour set of solo guitar? And I'm like, yeah. So now I'm going to have to figure out what to do, right? It's going to be, I haven't done a solo guitar set in a while, but I was thinking about it. It's going to be fun, kind of trying to work up certain repertoire, and I'm getting there. I've been working on about 5 or 6 tunes at the moment, which Sir Duke was one of them. I'm going to play a solo version of that. I'm going to play a solo version of just the two of us. That's a pretty tune. You know what I mean? It's got some nice stuff about it. Caravan was one. I'm going to play a blues, of course, because the blues is always pretty close to my heart. Stuff like that. So it's going to be fun to do that solo gig. And then the following weekend, I'm actually down in Nelson playing Nelson Opera in the Park. They call it Opera in the Park, but they're in a lot of opera half the time. I'm playing with 4 singers. So it's that show I did in Christchurch last year with Annie Kramer, Diva Mahal, Naomi Ferguson, and Betty Angamonga, who used to be a singer in Arija. A band I always liked, and it's 4 kick-ass singers, and then symphony orchestra, and me. So I'm probably going to take this guitar, I'm thinking, because there's a lot of R&B songs we're doing. You're All I Need to Get By, Respect, of course, with those ladies. We're doing Tina Turner's Simply the Best, which actually I can do quite this. You know what I mean? It does that. You don't need a real heavy kind of tone for that. Like that's kind of perfect for that. And there's a bunch of solos and different things which I can do with that same tone. So I can do all of that, that I'll need to do on that gig. So I'm thinking I'll probably take this. The only thing that if I'm only taking one guitar, the bummer is always with a tremolo. You run the risk of if you break a string, you're in trouble. But I'm going to get the promoter. I know him quite well, and he's a guitar player. So I think I'll be borrowing his amp, because he's already said he'll supply an amp. And last time I did that gig, he had a Fender Twin. It's fine, I can make it work. I'll take my Fractal, and I'll probably do a split where I'll go split to the front of house, and then I'll go split into the Fender to use it as a monitor. I always like to have a monitor. And then there's a rehearsal in Christchurch. So I fly to Christchurch, rehearse with the orchestra, stay the night. Next day we fly to Nelson, sound check in the venue, and then do the show. So in Christchurch, I'll probably see if I can get hold of one of those Fender FR10s or 12s, whichever one I can get hold of down there, because those just work so well. And the Fractal will do the lot, and then I'll probably take a couple of pedals. I've been really enjoying using pedals into the Fractal. I totally think that's the way to go. So yeah, thanks so much. There's another NAMM video coming out tonight, which I showed. What did I show in tonight's video? Cole Clark. Cole Clark did an acoustic guitar that has electric pickups in it and acoustic pickups, and they had this system for how to get the electric pickups to pick up phosphorus bronze strings, which you'd have on an acoustic guitar. Really interesting. So I interviewed the guy, what's his name, Miles. I actually met Miles some years ago. He did a clinic in Wellington. He was supposed to bring this guy, Lloyd Spiegel, who's an Australian guitar player, but Lloyd had injured his back. So I ended up stepping in at like 3 or 4 hours beforehand and come and did this clinic with Miles. So I met Miles before, and then of course Lloyd was at the NAMM show playing with Miles. So I've got some of Lloyd Spiegel playing. He's a really good Australian blues guitar player. Sounds fantastic. So yeah, and they're talking about this. I also found this guitar that folds in the middle of the neck. Ciari guitars, so that's in the video. Electro Harmonics showed their new POG. I interviewed the guy there, and he showed the new POG 3, which I've always liked those POGs. I think they're pretty cool. And the POG 3 had some interesting stuff. He was talking about how you can set it's stereo, so you can send different octaves and stuff to different sides of the stereo mix, and you can also use an expression pedal to kind of fade between different things and different sides within different parts of the stereo spectrum. It's like all that kind of stuff's pretty cool. And what was the other one I did? Oh, Vemarin. They just had one new pedal, so I showed that kind of quickly. But they had one that's kind of built off a clon style pedal for a Japanese guitar player who I didn't know of, but apparently is a bit of a legend in Japan. So it was cool. So we talk about that. So anyway, that video is coming out later tonight. Sal says, hi Nick, did you know Fender are bringing out a new FRFR? I didn't. A 2x12. Didn't know that. I went to the Fender booth, and I'm actually thinking about making a video about this, but Fender and Gibson both had booths at the damn show and said no public. Yeah, no public. Shitty. It's really dumb. Both of those brands are well known, right? A lot of people are pissed off about it, especially Fender. I don't know a single person who got into the Fender one. They're a legacy brand, right? That their dealers know who they are, right? So they made it dealer only. Their dealers already know who they are. They should have really invited the public. I thought that was kind of poor form. By public, I mean public attendees at the NAMM show. It's not really a public event as such. You've got to have some association to go with. But I thought, yeah, so I might have seen the 212 had I gone, and I probably would have made a video about it, promoting it, not promoting it, but it's a dumb way of putting it, but showing it to you all just so you all know that it's around. But no, it wasn't. Wasn't allowed in. I went to the booth, and the guy said, "Oh no, sorry, you can't come in. There's no public, it's only dealers." He goes, "We're taking the NAMM show back to what it used to be." Right. Good one. And he said, "Oh, do come back next year." And I was like, well, we'll see about that. So it's kind of like, what? It was really dumb. Anyway, Gibson did the same. You know what I mean? But I do know Gibson, apparently, I know some folks who kind of went and saw them and said, "Hey, look, I make videos for YouTube or whatever." And they said, "Oh yeah, come on in." So, they were a bit more lenient, whereas Fender, not at all. And then Porritt Smith did the same thing, but the Porritt Smith thing makes sense, because Porritt Smith didn't have a booth at NAMM. They actually booked out the House of Blues, which is around the corner, and at the House of Blues, they put on an event, which was invitation only, so it wasn't. But it makes sense, because they're not at the NAMM show, right? They put on an event in a venue, so of course it has to be invitation only, otherwise you could have public or whatever, you know what I mean? And they had John Mayer play. So my friend Mark Lettieri, his band had the house band, and then they had John Mayer and Philip Sace and Tim Pierce and all kinds of people playing. I'd like to have gone to that, but I felt kind of rude asking Mark, and he's really the only person I knew that was going to be there. But I felt rude about it because he'd already got me comp tickets to the Fearless Flyers the night before. I thought, gee, I just feel rude about asking. And I saw my friend Sophie Giuliani. She's a Porritt Smith artist, and she hadn't got an invite. So I kind of thought, okay. But she ended up sneaking in somehow, so maybe, I don't know how that worked. But sneaking in. She was probably invited in. Anyway, folks, I'm going to move on for tonight. And hope you look forward to that video that's coming out on the NAMM show today. I'm going to do kind of a bit of a recap and my thoughts about it, because it's a big event. It's pretty cool that it's back. There's a lot of good stuff there. And I'll be back to regular programming very soon, once I've decided exactly what I'm going to do. Anyway, talk soon. Cheers.